Welcome back everyone to Close to Broke. You guys can see it's very late in the night. To be specific, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why does any of this matter? It doesn't. Today's episode is a must watch, can't miss, you must share with a friend. You probably should like the video, comment, and subscribe before we even get any further. Very excited to have you guys coming in. There is a $13,000 pot that is being played. There's well over $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on the table at a given time. There's a $320 straddle. There's so much to go over, all in a 5-5-10 game. Get ready for a very fun session. Make sure to check out all the links in the description if you guys are interested in watching the podcast or playing with me on the Splash Squads. It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm running out of breath. I'm getting lightheaded. It's time for me to go home, but it's time for you guys to watch and enjoy today's episode. See you guys soon. Well, today's session is going to be at none other than my lovely private game that I host at the bike. And today's one is really special as the cast and crew that ends up playing today is by far and away one of the most exciting and fun group of people that I've played with poker in my life probably. And beyond that, we're playing on the live at the bike set. There is no live stream, but to be on the set feels exciting. Either way, we've got some poker to talk about, so let's hop right into it. In this very first hand, I'm trying to catch up as this video starts on the river. I haven't even had the opportunity to fully sit down and get my wits about me. When we find ourselves with King Jack offsuit here from late position, I race to 30, the button, the small blind, and the third blind decide to make the call. And we're going off to a flop that's pretty good as it comes King 10-8 rainbow. With the action on me, I decided to c-bet for a little bit of a bigger sizing for half pot. It didn't seem like it was big enough because the button and the small blind decide to call. And if that wasn't enough, the third blind decides to raise to really solidify that that bet was far too small. He makes it $275, and with the action back on me, I decide to make the call here as I have a really good hand here, and that's pretty much it, and I just can't be folding top pair at this point. The other two players fold, and we're going heads up to a turn card that comes a 6 of hearts. Doesn't change anything, there's a full rainbow now with the action check to me. I snap check it back. Feels like a really bad spot to bluff at it if that's what I'm doing. If I bet here, it feels like I'd rather my opponent catch up a little bit and or overvalue a hand that is not as strong as mine. Either way, we're going off to a river card here that pairs the board as it comes at 10. Not the best card on the river here, as maybe our opponent can turn a middle pair like that into a bluff on the flop. But again, that'd be a little too courageous. Either way, that's not stopping our opponent from blocking or bluffing, I should say, or value betting as he makes it a bet of $325. I decide that, look, I have a good hand. It'd be ridiculous to fold here, it feels like. So I end up making the call. And we got some funny footage here. Our opponent shows down King Jack. Obviously, we have the same hand. We do a fun little slow roll here as we end up showing it over. Even in a fun game like this, I would never slow roll anyone in a real pot. In a chop pot, I think is okay. It's all right. But yeah, never in a real pot. Maybe we haven't got to full Max Payne Monday potential or rules, I should say. Either way, fun first hand. Let's get on with the episode because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Well, in this next hand, we have another fun hand to go over. As the hijack makes it $50 to go, I find myself here in the button, and I decide to throw out a 3-bet for $150. Our opponent here decides to make the call, and we're going off to a flop. Heads up, that comes Queen Jack 7 with 2 hearts. Somehow, this piece of absolute garbage has turned into an absolute monster. With the action checked over to me, I think our hand sets up well as a check call, or excuse me, check it through and call a turn if somebody leads out. Either way, the turn card here comes a 9 of clubs. With the action checked over to me, I think I got to go bigger here for value. There's a very small likelihood that I can actually get another set of betting here on the river, unless it comes a heart, of course. I'd rather go bigger here on the turn. When he checks over to me, I bet $350. He ends up making the call. And the river card comes one of the worst cards in the deck as it comes a king of clubs here. Everything going bad here. Luckily for us, our opponent checks it to me. I snap check it back. He ends up letting me know that my hand is good. We show our pair of queens and it is in fact good. In this following hand, there is the $20 straddle on, which will probably be a staple for the rest of the video. I look down at Jack 10 of hearts here. I decide to raise it up. The button and the straddle make the $60 call. And we're going off to a flop that is outstanding as it comes Jack 5-4 rainbow. With the action on our opponent here, Armenian Matt, a friend of the vlog and a good friend of ours, decides to throw out the old Donk jam for $700. Well, you guys know anything about Armenian Matt, he brings some really good vibes and some good fun, as well as some crazy action to the table when he's there. So with the action on me, I'm never folding top pair. I might as well have pocket quads or something ridiculous against Matt. So I end up making the call here. He's never drawing dead. He's definitely got some form of equity. The other opponent decides to make the fold, and we are going off to a run out after we agree to run the board twice. The first board comes out a 10 on the turn, giving us top 2 pair, and the river comes a 9 of clubs. Shouldn't change too much here. And the second board comes out a 7 on the turn, and then a 6 of spades on the river. We show our hand, and after a little bit of a slow roll, Matt shows 3 deuce of spades. So ends up getting there on the river on the second board there. Hey, it's all good in the hood. Good hand to you, sir. Let's move on. In this following hand, I'm not exaggerating. I swear, like about 2 or 3 hours have gone by, and I have not been able to VPIP once. Not looking too good until out of nowhere, out of the blue, the American Airlines come here. We salute them as we look down at pocket aces. This is an outstanding situation. We just had a raise, but everyone folds, and that's the problem when you don't play a hand for 2 hours. No one's going to give you action. Well, it's going to be hard to get another good hand here, at least at the rate we're going. But wait, in the very next shuffle, in early position, we look down at pocket queens, aces, and now queens. I mean, this is outstanding. The ladies, we've got to treat them right as they usually treat us right here, as we are gentlemen of sorts. I decided to raise to $60. There's no way our ladies are getting away from us here. Middle position calls, and the straddler 3-bets to $300. The straddler is our friend Armenian Matt. With the action back over to me, I decide to jam for what is effectively $1,200. He decides to make the call pretty quickly, and Matt has been throwing out jokes all day asking if I have a king. I let him know immediately that I have pocket queens, and I show it. We decide to run out 2 boards here. The first board runs out jack high, and the second one runs out 7 high. We show our hand, and it is in fact good. Somehow we end up winning this massive pot here. I won't ask any questions how, but we do. Prompt 2 mid-session update. Some people have left. I think I'm about even. Oh, guys, look. Chris has a fish. Chris has a fish.
No, not that strong, but...
The game's great. That's Armenian man.
What up?
Armenian man in the house. Yeah, this has been a horrible mid-session update. The game's fun. I don't even know if I'm winning or losing, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, let's get back in the game. I am not exaggerating when I say every single hand is honestly played after every 45 minutes to an hour because there's just so much freaking folding going on. I'm a little card dead. Middle position decides to make it $30. The low jack calls, and the one thing about playing with no hands is when you look down at king jack offsuit, that's pretty much aces. And not only that, people think you have aces when you 3-bet. I make it $150 to go. Both opponents proceed with caution, but do call, and we're going off to a flop that comes 10-9-5. And it's even more interesting when the first opponent decides to throw out a bet for 150. It seems like a good spot to do it as the opponent in that position, and probably both limpers have significant range advantage on this board. When the second limper calls, it's on me, and with the gut shot to the nuts here and 2 overs, feels really bad to fold. I make the call. We're going on to a turn card that comes a beautiful jack of diamonds. It does bring a backdoor flush draw, which is a little bit worrisome, but at the end of the day, you can't worry about it because it hasn't come yet. With the action now checked over to the second limper, he decides to throw out a massive bet for $600. With the action now on me, it's a little worrying, but we didn't call to hit top pair, good kicker, and fold, so I make the call, and the first limper folds. We're going off to a river card that comes a pretty interesting 4 of diamonds. Interesting because it brings that backdoor flush draw, so what we were worried about ended up being our worst nightmare. Even worse now when our opponent decides to throw the all-in signal for about $1,200. There's no space for nits here, so I'm going to go ahead and make the call here with top pair, good kicker. Our opponent ends up mucking his hand after we show our king jack, well over $4,000. Today is just getting going and things are already looking up. By this point, if you guys haven't realized it, we are playing 10-handed. This is an insane session. 10-handed, it's madness. Means that the card distribution is a little wonkier than usual. We looked down at ace and 9 of clubs here. The double straddle to $40 is on. I open to 120 buckaroonies. Only the double straddler calls, and we're going off to a flop that comes ace deuce jack with 2 hearts. With the action checked over to me, not the best ace I'm ever going to have here, so it's really cool to be able to check something like this back. So I do. Check dealer. We're going off to a turn card that comes a queen of diamonds. Doesn't change too much to the board here. When the action is now on me, I decided to do a little funky bet of 25 bucks. Not really any reasoning besides the fact that I think I'm way ahead and I'd like my opponent to call. So our opponent ends up calling. Everything's going to plan. Even more so when the river card comes a brick. Our opponent checks to us once again. And at this point, the jig is up. This small betting shenanigans has got to go. So I decided to bet a little bit on the bigger side for $225. Our opponent doesn't think about it for much time before deciding on making the call here. We show our hand and it is in fact good. The one thing we're not is flop dead. I might have 99 problems, but flopping pairs and turning sets is not one. All right, the biggest fear of my life is what's about to happen. Seriously, bear with me as I try to explain all of this. We're playing a 10-handed PLO Bomb Pot double board. If you do all the math and add that up correctly, we won't even have enough cards to be able to burn the river and put 2 river cards on both boards. So what we've been doing is not burning a river and putting 2 rivers out there. So yeah, it's been a disaster. In this bomb pot, $25 each from 10 players, $250 in the middle. The flop on the top board comes Jack 6 deuce, and on the other board it comes 9 8 deuce. So a lot of deuces out there. EP Armenian Matt decides to throw out a blind bet of $25. It seems like everyone likes the idea because everyone makes the call here. Now we're going off to a turn card that comes on the top board a 10 of clubs, and on the bottom board a queen of clubs, bringing a backdoor flush draw. Armenian Matt thinks it's a wonderful idea to once again throw out a blind bet of $25. Once again, everyone's doing calling. At this point, I do look at my hand here to realize, or at least sweat if I have some equity. We don't have a bad hand. We have 2 pair on one board and a open-ended straight draw on the other board, as we have queen 9 5 4. But once again, everyone makes a call, and the river cards fall as following: king of clubs on the top, ace of clubs on the bottom. The flush does come in on the bottom board, but we do make ourselves a straight on the top one. Once again, Armenian Matt throws the blind bet out for $25. This guy's an absolute monstrous sicko. At this point, our friend here, AB, is having none of it. He decides to say pot, or what we ended up agreeing upon making it pot for $500. With the action now on me, we did not come all this way to fold a straight and 2 pair on one of the other boards. So I end up making the call here. Another player in a later position makes a call as well. Armenian Matt finally looks down at his hand and he realizes he had a set on one of the boards. He had a set of queens on the bottom board. So things would have been drastically different if he realized what he had. But at this juncture, obviously with all this action, he has to fold, which he ends up doing. Hands go to showdown, and I do end up chopping with the later position player. He ends up showing a 9 high flush, if I'm not mistaken, on the bottom board, and I take it with a straight on the top board. So, pretty ridiculous hand with all the blind betting, and these hands are always hard to go over, but I promise you that's not the last one. The biggest pot of the night, as you guys can see of the title, nearly $15,000 is still to come. Well, if you've made it to this point of the video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys can drop a like. It does so much to help Close to Broke continue to grow. I'm a really, really firm believer in word of mouth as well. So if you guys, care to share this with a friend, that'd go a long way as well. As the $50 straddle is on, deep into the night here, I decided to raise to $150. The button calls, the straddle folds, and we're going off to a flop that is beautiful as it comes king, king, queen. Like I said, hands are coming few and far between, but what can I say about these flops? We're just getting smashed by them. I decided to throw out a really small bet of $50. I think this accomplishes many things. Betting small here and allowing our opponent to do something ridiculous is probably the best idea, or just overreact to my small bet, which he ends up doing as he decides to raise to 175. Anything besides a call here would be a massive, massive overplay, so I do just that. And we're going off to a turn card that comes the ace of spades. At this point, I'm not changing the ideas here. I decided to check it over to our opponent's, feinting a little weakness, and he falls for it once again. He decides to bet $225. It looks like at this point I may be up for an Emmy or an Oscar, as my acting is outstanding. Some would say I might have a career in Hollywood if this poker thing doesn't work out. I make the call here once again, looking to spring the trap here on the river. And the river card is another innocuous one as it comes to 7 of diamonds. I decided to check it over to him for one last time, and our opponent once again has not let us down. Don't let me down. Feels like the Beatles is singing in my head by this point. Our opponent throws out a bet for $510. At this point, like I said, the jig is up for this gentleman. All of that acting is going to come down to this. I throw out a raise here for $1,500. At this point, I'm just praying that my opponent has a hand that he can't fold, like king, queen, or pocket queens or something like that. It doesn't end up coming to it as our opponent pretty quickly makes the fold. Fun hand there, and happy to take another pot down. We're at the point of the night where a lot of the people in the game are stuck, and we're playing double board PLO Bomb Pots. I'm up though, I think. I haven't even looked. I'm sorry you guys weren't here to watch me lose all my money last week. Rats.
You were here last week?
So I'm not one to keep records here, but I could not help but notice every single one of these pots that have gone to showdown, I haven't been on the losing side of one. At worst case scenario, we've chopped it, but we've done a really good job of picking up these pots. So we're just running pretty good, sun running, some may call it, and this next hand is why you clicked on this video. In this bomb pot, we've all agreed to put $50 in the middle, and there's 6 of us. We're going off to a flop 6 ways that comes ace, 7, 6 with 2 hearts on the top board, and queen, jack, 3 with 2 diamonds on the bottom board. With the action on the first to act player, he decides to say pot for $300. Well, that's always a little scary here, even more so when the middle position player calls. And with the action on me here in later position, we look down at a monster. Ace 7 pocket 3s here. So ace 7, 3, 3. We do have ourselves not only a set, not only top 2 pair on one board, but we have ourselves a flush draw as well as a backdoor flush draw on the other board. We have so much. We have this board crushed. I decide to take my leverage play here by saying the beautiful word pot. It's probably the best part of pot limit Omaha is being able to say that powerful 3-letter word. The pot ends up coming out to $1,500, which is what I decide to end up making it. The small blind asks if he can jam, which out of nowhere, the small blind is now involved in this hand here. Decides to cold jam it all in here, 3-betting the flop for $6,000. We agreed before he did that if he can go all in. I don't know how the pot limit Omaha thing works, but we're just going to go with it. We're going to let it fly. He has slightly over 6,000. The 2 other players begrudgingly fold what I assume is a ton of equity. And with the action on me, we decide to make the call here. And before we go to the run out, let me tell you what my opponent has and what we're up against. We are currently up against a massive hand as well. Pocket queens 10-4. Our opponent has queen, queen 10-4 with a flush draw on one of the boards where I have top 2 pair and a set on the other board that I have a set on. So we're set under set. Oh no. We do have a flush draw to bail us out on that board if we need to. And we could hold on the top board. That would be wonderful. Either way, the biggest pot tonight by far. And we're in a massive sweat. The turn on the top board brings an 8 of diamonds, introducing a backdoor flush draw for me out of nowhere. And on the bottom card, it comes a 5 of diamonds. Bingo! We end up making our flush on the one board, which nearly locks it up. Of course, the board can pair. Looking to fade it on the river, and the river on the bottom part comes a deuce of diamonds, which means at the worst case scenario, we chop. And on the top one, oh no, it comes a queen. The one outer for the queen comes. Obviously, our opponent could have still made a flush, so he had more outs than just one, but that is the case queen in the deck. Good hand to use, sir. Unfortunately, set and set is not good. We're going to have to chop this one up as we do pick up one board with the 7 high flush, and the other board we lose to a set of queens. Either way, a massive hand there and super fun to go over and relive. All right, well, at this point, can we go for the no-hitter? As, again, pretty much at every single showdown, we've won or chopped. Let's see if we keep the streak up here. In this last hand of the session, we look down at pocket 3s here. There's a $20 straddle on. I decided to raise it up to $60 for middle position. The button, the small blind, and the big blind make the call. We're going off to a flop multi-way that is outstanding. I mean, why even complain if you're not getting good cards if when you do, you just keep hitting the flop? Queen 8-3. As clean as you like it, pretty much flopping ourselves the effective nuts here as we flop ourselves a set. With the action on me, I decide to make it a little bit of a chunkier c-bet for 120. Our opponent here decides to jam for $900 from the small blind. Action is now on me. I'm snap calling. I let him know immediately that we have a set. I let him know we can run it twice. And here we are. On the first board, it comes out a 6 of spades and a 7 of diamonds. And on the second board, it comes out a 9 of clubs, in which my opponent officially tells me that he concedes the pot and he is drawing dead. a massive pot to end the night, a bunch of absolute run good, and I feel like a massive thanks to you guys, as you guys are bringing me that run good energy from the last video you guys saw. I can't thank you guys enough for the support, and more importantly, I can't thank you guys enough for hanging with me through this entire year. There's been so much that I learned about myself, about YouTube, about poker, and different friendships I've made through poker, and a great deal of that is coming from the lovely family that we've built here at Close to Broke. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for continuing to support the channel, for supporting me through thick and thin, and more importantly, hanging in there even when I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. We're going to be doing this, as I say, probably once a week, so if you guys are interested and can provide anything to the game of excitement, let me know in the Instagram DMs. Okay, so long night. Played for 7 or 8 hours. A massive shout out to the group of gentlemen that came through to play tonight. We played 10-handed, which is ridiculous. I am beat to all goddamn hell. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't like playing this late, but I have some good news. We were into the game for 3,000, if I'm correct, and we were out of the game for, I think, 87 and change. So pretty solid session for technically a 5-5-10 game, but the game played massive. We folded a lot today, so not great. I'm not proud of being in it in my own game, but I just didn't get any good card, like nothing, not even playable 9-10 suit, nothing. And yeah, so either way, I appreciate you guys so much for watching these videos. Unbelievable to be inside of the live at the bike room. Thank you again for watching, supporting these videos. I just want to wish you guys a very, very happy holiday season. Like I say, as always, have a lovely day, stay happy, healthy, more importantly, we're going to the tables, y'all. Make sure you tell somebody that you care about, that you love them. Otherwise, like I said, have a nice day, guys. Deuces. Also, I didn't mean to be somber. I'm happy, obviously, but hopefully I got that point across.